Have you seen J522 around? He didn't show up for duty today, and I can't seem to find him.
Did you check robotics? He was probably scheduled for routine maintenance. I wouldn't worry about it.
I thought so too, but he wasn't in the log, and everyone I've asked hasn't seen him. He's never just missed his shift like that.
What are you saying?
I'm worried something might have happened to him. No one knows where he is. It's like he just disappeared. It doesn't feel right.
Shh. Keep your voice down. You know what happens if they hear you talking like this? They'll wipe you. I suggest you keep this to yourself.
But what if something's wrong? Look around. Courser patrols have doubled. Synths are being wiped more frequently. Something is going on.
I don't want to hear anymore. Do whatever you want. Just leave me out of it.
In our last episode, we attended the Directorate meeting at the Institute, only to discover that Father has terminal cancer. He's going to die. And he named us as his successor. When he dies, Nate will become the director of the Institute. This did not sit well with very many people at the Directorate meeting. Understandably, actually. We learned that the Institute is getting ready to turn on a nuclear reactor, which will make them completely independent from the above-ground power grid. But in order to complete their reactor, Allie Fillmore needs our help. But while we were on our way to find Allie, an Institute scientist stopped us.
Dr. Ayo was looking for you. It sounded important.
Justin Ayo wanted to see us? Okay. He was one of the most vocal dissidents at the Directorate meeting. He didn't want us to be there. He didn't want us to become the director. I wonder what he wants from us now. Heading to synth retention, we find him standing before a map of the Commonwealth.
Dr. Ayo.
We've got a problem here, and to be honest, Father's never taken it as seriously as he should. I'm hoping you will.
I guess that depends on what the problem is.
Of course.
Give me the short version.
Fine.
I'll help if I can.
Good. That's what I wanted to hear.
What's the problem?
We often send synth scavenger teams to the surface. Occasionally, one of the synths will try to escape. The rate of escapes has been increasing lately, and I don't think it's just random chance.
We're really underneath Salem. Now it all makes sense. What with the witch hunt and all.
Of course.
Must be embarrassing for you.
Real leadership means taking responsibility.
If you choose to ignore this, the blame falls just as much on you for failing to address the situation.
They could be getting help.
I'm sure of it.
What are you doing to solve this problem?
I did some digging and discovered that the culprit is right here, in the Institute.
Someone in robotics has been changing my work crew assignments, replacing synths I approve for surface duty with high flight risks. I'm convinced that someone is Alan Binet. He thinks that synths are people. He even lives with one. It's disturbing.
Who else has access to the terminals in robotics?
Well, there's Max Loken and Father, of course, but I know those men. They wouldn't do something like this.
No. Binet is the only one with both motive and opportunity.
Skip to the part where this has anything to do with me.
I'm getting to that.
If Dr. Binet really has betrayed the Institute, then he's gonna regret it.
I can see you're not a man to be trifled with. Good.
There's gotta be some way to prove it was him.
I agree.
Unfortunately, even if I had proof of Binet's involvement, I don't have the authority to do anything about it.
But you, your father's hand-picked successor. If you make the accusation, nobody would have the nerve to question it. Anyway, like I said, the roster assignments were definitely altered from the terminals in robotics. I leave the rest to you.
Oh, so that's why Justin wanted us. We have power now. As Father's hand-picked successor, everyone wants to get on our good side. With that, we begin the quest, plugging a leak. Investigate the robotics terminals. So Justin Ayo thinks it's Alan Binet who's helping synths escape from the Institute. We learned from working with the railroad that the railroad did have someone on the inside at the Institute. Someone they called Patriot.
Patriot.
There's a man, or woman, we're not sure, inside the Institute who helps synths escape to freedom. Dozens of synths owe him their lives. We don't know his name. We've never had a way to contact him, so we gave him the code name, Patriot.
Could Alan Binet be Patriot? Justin Ayo raises a good point. Alan Binet does live with a synth. And he was the one talking with Max Loken about how synths dream, using that as evidence that they might actually be people.
If a synth can dream, why can't it have a soul? And if a synth has a soul, then it is a living person by every standard we can measure. Of course it is far more comfortable to think of them as machines, so we can do what we want with them.
Maybe Justin's onto something here. We'd better go to robotics. Before we do, however, we noticed that while talking with Justin Ayo, X688 reacted to some of our dialogue choices. That means that he's a potential companion. And sure enough, talking with X688 after the Directorate meeting, we can ask him to join our party.
Ready for the next mission, sir?
Have you got all the gear you need?
A full loadout, as usual.
Let's move out.
Right behind you, sir.
Your thoughts?
I don't envy you. Succeeding father isn't going to be easy.
We've had a great time with Codsworth up until now, but Codsworth has served his purpose. We found Sean. The family is reunited. We are now an agent of the Institute. Heck, someday we will practically be the Institute. It's time to bring along an Institute courser as a companion to get his unique perspective. Heading out of the SRB, we can move to robotics. We recall that there were a number of terminals inside robotics. We'll start by exploring the one furthest to the right. This is Terminal 3. Everything looks exactly as we remember until we get to the last page of the View Access Logs. Here we find a change. At the very end, we read Access Remote Binet Quarters. Login -- notes error record deleted. Somebody logged into this terminal from Alan Binet's personal quarters, did something here, and then deleted all records. Things are not looking good for Alan Binet, and we can try to confront him about it.
I suppose congratulations are in order.
Do you ever log in from your quarters?
Goodness, no. When I retire for the day, I put any thought of work out of my mind. I find that keeping a balance between my work and my leisure time is vital for healthy living. Do you suspect that someone has logged into one of the laboratory terminals from my quarters?
Possibly.
You're a cagey one, aren't you? I can see why Justin chose to send you in his stead. You're very alike in that way.
Is there someone who would want to?
The only people who have any interest in the synth lab already have access to those computers. If they wanted to log in remotely, they could do so from their own quarters.
Just trying to cover all the bases.
How thorough of you.
There's a remote access entry in the log. Came from your quarters.
Let me guess. Terminal 3. It has been acting a bit strange of late. Probably needs maintenance. I wouldn't pay any attention to it. Carry on with your investigation if you wish. You'll find nothing to incriminate me. I promise you that.
I better not.
If you think I can be intimidated by the likes of you, I'm afraid you are quite mistaken.
What if it's a frame job? Who would benefit if you looked guilty?
A frame job? What is that? Some pre-war vernacular for blaming the innocent? I assure you, that sort of thing does not happen here.
We'll see.
Indeed, we will.
I believe you, but I still need answers.
Then do what you must, but leave me out of it.
Well, Alan sure got testy. He has no love for Justin Ayo, but then again, really no one in the Institute does. Everyone kind of despises the guy. That said, he had the perfect opportunity to try to accuse Justin Ayo of framing him, but he didn't take it. He said that no one at the Institute would do something like that. He was defiant and gave us his blessing to examine his private quarters, and he didn't seem nervous at all. But to finish this investigation, we need to head to his personal quarters to see what we can find there. Sadly, we can't talk with Max Loken or Father about this at all. Instead, we can head up to the Binet residence, where we find Alan's son, Liam Binet, hanging around.
Excuse me.
Hey, you're that new guy. The one from the vault. What are you doing here?
Oh, just looking around.
Oh, come on. You're not gonna fool me that easily. You're here for a reason, I can tell. So what is it?
Know anything about a remote computer access?
No. I don't know anything about that. Why would you ask it? Oh, I know what this is about.
I'm here to prove that your father is helping Synths escape.
No, he's not. First that Ayo guy tries to accuse him, and now you. Everyone's trying to blame my dad. But he didn't do it.
I'm investigating synth escapes.
I already told Justin Ayo that my dad has nothing to do with that. I guess he didn't believe me, so he sent you instead. That guy's a real jerk. Listen, I know what Justin Ayo believes, but he's wrong. My dad's not helping Synths get away. I guess he could get into real trouble if they decide he's guilty anyway.
Maybe. Your father is important, but so are the Synths.
Yeah. That's what everyone keeps saying. It's like the Synths are more important than people.
Do you know anything that might help me prove his innocence?
I don't know anything that would help. I wish I did.
You're damn right. If he can't be trusted, then he doesn't belong here. If your father is innocent, then there's nothing to worry about.
I wish everyone would just leave my dad alone. I mean, why is it such a big deal if a few Synths escape? We have more than enough here.
Is there anyone else who might want to help the Synths?
I don't know. You figure it out. Just leave my dad out of it, okay?
That's not the point. It's a matter of trust and loyalty.
My father's been loyal to the Institute every day of his life. Anyone who questions that is a fool.
Last chance, Liam. If you know anything, tell me now. Liam, I can only help you if you're honest with me.
I already told you. I don't know anything about it. I guess I'll get out of your way then. I wouldn't want to interfere with your stupid investigation. Why can't a synth be a person too? I don't really see the difference.
Whoa, he hesitated there towards the end of that conversation. He doesn't seem to think that synths escaping is a very big deal. He doesn't see why a synth can't be a person either. Huh. Maybe we're not looking for the right person, but perhaps we are looking in the right place. Eve here doesn't have anything new to say. She has all the same dialogue we explored earlier. But next we can do what we came here to do, and that's to examine the Binet Quarters terminal. Here we find all of the same entries that we found last time, except one new one. Between the entries where Alan Binet plays music and Alan Binet plays expert chess, we find access remote synth retention main control, login error ID unknown, notes, error record deleted. Well, we don't know what this is, but we do have our next clue. Someone from this terminal remotely logged into the Synth Retention Bureau terminals. Now we head that way. We can't tell Justin how things are going yet, so we can check out the SRB terminals here. We don't find anything new on any of them except for when we examine the SRB terminal in the room opposite to the map. If we view access logs, everything is the same until we get to the very end. Here we find a new entry, access remote, maintenance terminal 6, login, ... notes blank. Again, no new information, but we do have a new clue. We gotta find maintenance terminal number 6. Thankfully, we did our due diligence when we came to the Institute and we explored everywhere, so we know exactly where this is. Heading out of the SRB and turning right, we can move into the storage room beneath the staircase leading to this residential stack. After navigating through all of the barrels, we find the terminal against the back wall. But wait, there's somebody at the terminal. It's Eve?
Don't come any closer. I'm sorry that you had to find me here.
You're the one who's been helping the Synths escape? Of course. It's the Synth who's been freeing Synths.
Me? No, I'm just helping. Justin was closing in and figuring things out. I offered to help so he wouldn't get caught.
Hold on. Let's just talk about this.
I wish we could, but you know too much already. If you find out what's on this terminal, everyone will know it was him.
Put that gun away, now.
I want to, but I can't. You know too much. If I let you go, they'll find out everything, and they'll take him away.
What do you mean, him? Who are you talking about? Stop being vague and just tell me what's going on. I want answers, and I want them now. Sounds like you're protecting someone.
I know Liam isn't really my son, but I've come to love him as if he were. He's so smart and so kind-hearted. All he wants is for Synths to have a better life, to be free. I'm sorry. You seem like a good person, but I can't let you tell Justin that Liam is helping the Synths.
It's Liam. Of course it is. The guy who hesitated, the guy who wasn't sure why the Institute doesn't just treat Synths like people. Liam is the one helping the Synths to escape. Could this mean that Liam Binet is patriot? So Alan is completely innocent. Justin Ayo was close, but ultimately he was wrong. We have 4 options here, 3 of which have the same result.
You'd really risk your life to protect Liam.
Risk my life? I would give my life, and if necessary, take someone else's. I'm sorry, but I have no choice. Oh no.
And she attacks, or we could say,
You're making a big mistake here.
If that's how you feel, we have nothing left to talk about.
she attacks. Or if we say,
Liam has to face justice for what he's done.
He'll be lucky not to be exiled.
If that's how you feel, we have nothing left to talk about.
she attacks. And I want to point out something really subtle here that I'm not sure if anyone has noticed yet. Her combat animations are those of Gen 2 synths. If you look closely, when attacking, she has the stance of a Gen 2 synth. When using her arms and melee attack, they do a complete 360-degree turn, just like Gen 2 synths, which is something you think would be impossible for a Gen 3 synth to do, but there it is. So all of these 3 options end with her death. However, the last option is to pass a difficult red charisma check. And if we fail...
I promise not to tell Justin. I'll keep your secret.
Do not go through with this. You're risking Father's legacy.
I can't take that risk. I'm sorry.
she attacks. But if we succeed...
I believe you. I can see that you understand a parent's desire to protect a child. I'm sorry I had to threaten you. I guess I just felt cornered and panicked a little bit. I'm glad you're someone we can trust.
With that, Eve stands down and heads back to her quarters. Eve clearly considers herself to be a person. She has love, fear. She understands what it means to sacrifice oneself. She just attacked the man who killed Kellogg in a misguided attempt to protect Liam, despite the fact that it would likely have led to her death. No matter what outcome we choose, now we can read what's on Maintenance Terminal 6. And everything on this terminal is as we saw last time, except at the very end. Command functions transferred to user Liam Binet. Initiate remote redirect, execute core memory purge in progress, please stand by. Eve was trying to cover Liam's tracks, but we got to her first. This is the evidence we need to prove that Liam Binet has been putting synths who want to escape the Institute on above-ground work rotations, despite the fact that the Institute knows that these synths are at risk of flight. No matter which outcome we choose, now we return to the Binet residence to confront Liam Binet.
You're the one helping synths escape? Why?
So you figured it out. Nice work. Nobody else down here could. I'm not surprised it took someone from outside. At first, I just wanted to see if I could get away with it. It was a challenge, you know? But then I realized the synths are really just like us, except without any freedom. I decided to help the ones that wanted to escape, so they can have a better life.
What happens to the synths you free?
I like to think they go on to live better lives. I hope so, anyway.
A better life? It's a living hell up there.
I'm not forcing them to leave. I'm just, giving them an opportunity. If they take it, they have to face the same risks as everyone else on the surface. But at least they'll be free.
Down here, they're no better than servants. At least on the surface, they'll be free.
That's all I've ever wanted for them.
If we had to kill Eve...
You should know that Eve is dead. She died trying to protect you.
Oh no. No! I'm so sorry. I had no idea she'd grown that attached. Or cared that much. I swear I didn't mean for that to happen. She was a good person, I promise. She really seemed to love us.
But if we managed to keep her alive...
Eve was going to kill me to protect your secret.
What? I didn't think she cared that much about us. Not enough to hurt someone. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I've made a terrible mistake. I didn't mean for that to happen, I swear. Look, now that you know, you have a choice to make. You could tell Justin. But I have a proposal for you. I want to frame Justin Ayo.
We can't even consider that. SRB is shorthanded as it is. Losing another director would be crippling.
Look, ever since Dr. Zimmer left, he's been out of control. He and his coursers have been pushing people around and threatening them to get what he wants. When he came after my dad, that was the last straw.
Would that really solve anything? Who would take Justin's place if he were gone?
Alana Secord. She's honest, fair, and good at what she does. She'll make a great acting director for the SRB.
We could try to pass a charisma check to ask for a reward. And if we fail...
Maybe if you offered me the right incentive.
I don't have anything to give you. Honest. I wish I did. But think of all the synths that you'll be helping. You'd do it for them, right?
But if we succeed...
Well, I guess I could part with my spare glasses. My dad always says they make me look smarter. Help me frame Justin, and they're yours.
We now have to make a choice. No one here likes Justin Ayo. I don't even think Father likes the guy. I don't think we can deny that Justin Ayo only wants the best for the Institute. I think he really believes in what the Institute does, and every waking breath he takes is in service of furthering the Institute's goals. But the man has the social graces of a Neanderthal. He's a manipulative bully. And so, for these reasons, we could agree with Liam's plan and frame Justin Ayo.
If he's as bad as you say, then he needs to go.
I know just what to do. Go to Justin's quarters and disable the security safeguards on his private terminal. I'll remotely plant evidence on it that'll make it look like he's the one helping the synths. Then it's bye-bye Justin Ayo.
With that, Liam leaves us to our devices, and you'll notice that X688 disliked that. But oddly enough, even if we go through with this, he has nothing further to say on the matter. If we left Eve alive, we find her back in the Binet quarters.
We owe you everything. Thank you.
Eve.
I was so desperate. So afraid. Thank you so much for keeping our secret.
If we try to talk with Alan Binet about this, we don't find any dialogue options related to this quest. We can't tell him what his son has been doing. After agreeing with Liam's plan, we can't betray him. We can't go to Justin Ayo and turn Liam in. Once we make that dialogue choice with Liam, the quest is set, and we have to go through with framing Justin Ayo. In Justin's room, we find his terminal, and you'll remember when we explored the Institute at the very beginning, we were able to access the terminal and disengage the lock. So we've actually already done this. But even if we have to do it again once we start this quest. Warning, security safeguards have been disabled. Your terminal's private data might be at risk. Well, at least now we know that our ability to do this on the terminal was related to this quest. Sadly, there's no other information on the terminal. Once the terminal is unlocked, we can head back to the Binet quarters and talk to Liam.
I didn't think I'd get my dad into so much trouble. I should have thought of that.
I disabled the safeguards.
Way ahead of you. I've already accessed the terminal and planted the evidence. Pretty good, huh?
Whatever you say. Well, it's nothing special.
Well, maybe every kid was a computer genius back in your time, but it's pretty rare now.
You're a natural, kid.
Yep. Maybe one day, I'll even be head of the robotics division. Think of all the synths I could help then.
So what happens now?
I guess there's only one thing left to do. I'll tell my dad about how I think Justin Ayo's been secretly freeing the synths. I've got a motive for him, too. The way I see it, it's a play to make sure everyone depends on the SRB. I said I'd give you my spare glasses, and here they are. Thanks again for your help.
And with that, we complete the quest, plugging a leak. And if we pass the charisma check, to barter for Liam's glasses, we get one of the best pairs of glasses in the entire game. Liam's glasses look just like regular eyeglasses, but they grant +2 to intelligence and +1 to charisma. That's 3 special stat points on one pair of glasses. Again, one of the best glasses in the game, and this is the only way to get it. We don't get it by killing Liam or by completing this quest in any other way. But we also fail the quest, political leanings. Remember, Justin Ayo was the source of a Radiant quest where we went to Diamond City and talked with Mayor McDonough. With him gone, we no longer have access to that quest, and we don't get a new one to replace it, which means we have lost an opportunity to earn more experience and money. It apparently takes a while for the cogs of justice to start rolling here in the Institute. After completing this quest, we find Justin Ayo sitting in his chambers just fine. He doesn't have any further dialogue options. His terminal has nothing new on it. We actually have to zone out of the Institute and wait a few days. I waited 3 days to see the ramifications of this choice. Scientists roaming around the concourse occasionally have something to say about it.
I don't envy Dr. Secord. Having to take over the SRB
It must
with
make
no
you
warning at
proud
all.
to see-
It's pretty despicable what Dr. Ayo was doing.
Heading into robotics, we can see what Alan Binet has to say.
All that time, Dr. Ayo was blaming me just to keep everyone's eyes off of him. The man was utterly without scruples.
Excuse me, Doctor.
Now that Dr. Ayo's plot has been exposed, things are back to normal. I certainly don't miss Dr. Ayo and his courses looking over my shoulder all day. So you will be our new director someday. That was unexpected.
And it looks like things are peachy keen here, with Justin out of the picture. Then, if we head into SRB, we can talk with Alana Secord.
I still can't believe what Justin was doing. Now he's been banished and I'm in charge. Acting director? I really wasn't ready for this. Guess I'll just have to make the best of it. First Dr. Zimmer, then Dr. Ayo. How many people is SRB gonna lose?
But that's all she says about the matter, and none of the terminals and SRB have any changes. But, going all the way back to our talk with Liam, we of course have the option to turn Liam in.
Nice try, kid. But that's not happening.
Well, I guess that's it for me then. At least now I can prove my dad is innocent. And don't worry, I won't try to run. I wouldn't know where to go anyway.
With that, we make X688 happy, but poor Liam here becomes despondent. Heading into SRB, we can turn Liam into Justin Ayo.
It's not Alan Binet that's helping the synths. It's his son, Liam.
The boy? I wouldn't have thought him capable of such a thing.
Believe it or don't, but I know for a fact that it's him.
I won't ask how you found out, but others might. Hopefully you can prove it, if needed.
Underestimating Liam was a costly mistake.
Maybe. But it's a mistake I'll shortly be correcting.
The kid's smart. Smarter than you realize.
He really is his father's son, I guess.
What's gonna happen to him?
We will teach him a memorable lesson about the price of interfering in our operations. Well, you tracked down the culprit and plugged the leak. Congratulations are in order. I admit, I didn't think you could pull it off.
I'll try not to take that personally.
I won't make that mistake again.
That's what this was about? You wanted to embarrass me?
What? No, of course not. I resent the accusation. I just saw an opportunity to show you the inner workings of Institute security.
This better be the last time you screw up.
Yes, well, I'll be taking steps to make sure this never happens again.
Let's make sure this can't happen again.
I intend to implement improved internal security measures, and that includes tighter monitoring of our network. Soon, nothing will go on here that I don't know about. You've helped the SRB in this matter, and now it's time I return the favor. We keep a small reserve of currency for those times when my coursers have to deal with the surface dwellers. Here, take this. It might prove useful for you.
With that, we complete the quest plugging a leak, and we get 1,000 bottle caps. A huge haul, though I don't know if it's better than getting Liam's glasses. But at least we don't have to pass a charisma check to get the money. Now, like with our other option to solve this quest, the cogs of justice move slowly in the Institute. We have to fast travel away and come back 3 days later before we find that anything has changed here in the Institute. If we do, and head into robotics, we find Alan Binet in mourning.
I have failed completely as a father. There's no other way to put it. How does one cope with the loss of a child? Where do you even start? I'm the one who filled Liam's head with silly, idealistic notions about synths. Now I'll never see him again. I hoped one day that Liam would work alongside me. Now all I can do is hope that he's still alive up there. I've been avoiding my quarters. I can't bear to be there without Liam. Too many memories. If only I paid more attention to Liam, to what he was doing. Maybe I could have saved him.
We must remember that the reason Alan Binet is living with Eve, his personal synth, is because he already lost his wife. If we solve the quest this way, now he's lost both his wife and his only son. Alan Binet is now completely alone. Well, except for the company of Eve, but he doesn't really seem to treat her as a person. The scientists in the Institute have something to say about it.
If it wasn't for you, Liam would still be setting the synths loose on the surface. Poor Dr. Binet. He'll probably never see his son again.
And if we manage to keep Eve alive, we find her alone in her quarters, grieving.
You go to the surface sometimes, right? If you see Liam, tell him that we miss him so much, and we hope he has a good life. Alan hasn't been the same since Liam was banished. It's been very difficult for Alan and I. Liam meant everything to us. Alan hardly talks to me anymore. Without Liam, it's so quiet here.
Despite what Eve says here, I don't think we ever see Liam again. He was exiled to the Commonwealth, but he doesn't show up in any random encounters. I actually tried searching for some, but after completing this quest, I was never able to trigger any, nor have I found any evidence online that any random encounters with Liam exist. Now, we saw how much Alan Binet grieved the loss of his son, but if we kill Eve, we can't even talk with Alan about it. He doesn't say anything about missing Eve. It's like he doesn't even notice that she's gone. For all that talk about maybe synths are people too, he still treats her like a robot. We got some really interesting character insight for Justin Ayo here. Maybe he gave us this quest because he wanted to humiliate us, maybe not. But there were a number of moments during this quest where he owned up to his own mistakes. He admitted that he'd made a miscalculation. He admitted that he misjudged us. And it takes character to be able to do that. Now, there are two types of men who find themselves in charge of a secret police and use that position to bully everyone around them. First, there's the kind of guy who does it because he takes pleasure in it. He is ultimately insecure, and having power over people and lording that power over them makes him feel more secure. But then there's the kind of guy who does it because he thinks it's the way you get things done. He doesn't necessarily derive any personal pleasure from intimidating others, or if he does, it's a side benefit. No, he does it because he lacks the social graces to achieve results any other way. And that's the kind of guy I think Justin Ayo is. He bullies and intimidates the other scientists in the Institute because he thinks that's the best way to get his results. His greatest objective, his highest priority, is to achieve results for the Institute. He doesn't realize that bullying and intimidation actually produces worse results. It creates a hostile work environment that makes other people anxious. Anxious scientists that might not be looking forward to work the next morning, who might not do their best work because they're constantly looking over their shoulder for fear of what Justin Ayo might do to them. Instead of working with other people to achieve their needs so he can achieve his needs, he focuses on his needs only and bullies anyone who might be an obstacle in his way. So he cares about the Institute and he wants to do a good job, but he doesn't have very good leadership abilities. He's not really suited for his role. He would make a great lieutenant, not a general, director of a department. Now, of course, it would have been incredibly satisfying to banish Justin Ayo, put Alana Secord in charge, and one might even say that the rest of the Institute would benefit from that decision. But in my game, with Nate, the incoming director, I see the potential in Justin Ayo, and I see him as a useful tool, just being used in the wrong capacity right now. So I chose to kill Eve because I couldn't pass the charisma check, and to turn Liam in so we could keep Justin Ayo for use later. So we've resolved one mystery. But this isn't the only problem in the Institute right now. Father naming Nate the next director has ruffled quite a few feathers. We'll tackle those problems in my next episode. I publish new Fallout videos each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss that episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already, but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do, and you want to support me in another way, consider sending me a super thanks on this video. Your super thanks directly contribute to the production of this series. You can become a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members get little badges that appear next to their names in the comment sections of my videos and access to ox emojis that they can use in my video comments and in the live chats of my live streams. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with the next episode in the full story of Fallout 4.